Good morning, everybody. Okay, so let us see our schedule. Okay, so this is the last week before Thanksgiving break. So in this week, we have to go through a lot, 3 topics. We just started two-dimensional array. Actually, I am 1 lecture behind due to your test. 3 on last lecture. Okay, so hopefully today I will finish 2D array and we will start searching, and then we will finish searching in next lecture and we will start sorting. So searching and sorting are the main topics we will discuss in this week. So I wish, actually I need to run fast this week. Okay, so I have to cover this and I wish you will stay with me. Okay, so in our previous lecture we were discussing two-dimensional array, right? Two-D array and list. Okay, let us see that we can finish that. Okay, like an one-dimensional array, a two-dimensional array is also a linear data structure. Okay, the elements of a two-dimensional array stay together one after another in memory location. Okay, so we know that a two-dimensional array has some rows and some columns, and the intersection point between a row and a column is called a cell, right? Okay, so this is a 7 by 7 array. That means it has 7 rows and 7 columns. So like one-dimensional array, two-dimensional array indices start with 0. Okay, that is the main thing, if you remember that. Okay, then in order to declare a two-dimensional array we need 2 indices, one for row and another for column. So far this is the row count and column count. This must be constant number, either a fixed number or a constant number. This you cannot assign this with a variable. Okay, we will discuss that. That is the limitation of static array. So like one-dimensional array, there is a little bit difference programming languages to programming languages for how do we declare a two-dimensional array. Like in Java we declare a two-dimensional array like this: integer, then this part. Okay, this is square bracket. 1 square bracket is for one-dimensional array, 2 square bracket is for 2 sets of square bracket is for two-dimensional array. Okay, so if you have 3-dimensional array, then we will have 3 sets. Okay, and then this is a new int. Okay, and this is the value for row and this is the 20 for columns. So this array will have 10 rows and 20 columns. So this format is for Java, and we discussed that in C# we will use 1 set of square bracket, but we will use comma in between to get the. So this is the comma is the separation between row and column. Okay, and C++ it is a little bit different, but close to C#. C# we use array type over here, but in C++ we do not use that, but we directly and simply we declare a two-dimensional array. Okay, so maybe we discussed this in our last lecture. So this the red cell has indices 2 and 3. This is the index of third row and fourth column. This is the cell of third row and fourth column, not second row and third column. Okay, don't be misled. So what is the symbol of an array? Square bracket is a symbol of an array. Okay, like parenthesis is a symbol of a method or function. Square bracket is the symbol of an array. Shortcut. Okay, you need to have in-depth knowledge if you want to make your intention to do game design. For many operations in computer programming that you will use array, especially one-dimensional array and two-dimensional array. If you want to design a game that you want to say longitude, your latitude and height of your object. When you play a game that if your object moves over mountain or building or sphere, then if you want to hit something or click, then you need to maintain maybe 2 or 3 dimensional or something more than 3 dimensional. If you want to measure speed as well as, then you can give 4 dimensions. So our discussion will be limited with only 2-dimensional array in this discussion. So this is what we discuss in our programs. In order to access a 2-dimensional array, we need 2 for loop, right? One for loop inside another for loop. Okay, the first for loop or the outer for loop works for row, and the inner for loop works for column. So this is the nutshell we discussed in our last lecture, and this is the simple. For this array, the cell 3 3 is the last element, and the cell 0 0 is the first element. So this is what we discussed in our last lecture. Anyone has any question? Okay. Out of your context or the syllabus, because this course is not only the course, programming course, we have another course 1322. You may have some questions related to your 1322. If you have some question, we think that it is related to not this in course content, we should avoid, because there is another course. Okay. If you have more in-depth question, then maybe you should come to our 1322 course. Then for programming, maybe even array. This is not done with array. There are more operations on array, especially maybe we have dynamic array. This is called array list, that we may cover a little bit in this course, but not in depth. Okay. Okay, so now let us go some live programs with 2-dimensional array. How many slides? Okay, I have 10 more slides. Let me see what are the slides, then I will go through. Okay. So everybody here has a Replit account, right? Account on Replit. Okay, so if you go to my Replit account, how do you go someone else Replit account? So it's write replit.it and then @ the account name, username. Okay, so if you, this is my account name, @ my first name Mukhtar. So if you go to my account, you see that I have some programs. Okay. So I'm not taking, some students think that we give more emphasis or maybe in Java, not in C++ or not in C#. But really this is difficult to discuss 3 languages at a time. Okay. But I will try to make our balance. So if you go to my Replit account, you will see that I have almost all programs written in 3 languages, 3 versions. And if where there are major differences, I always discuss. Okay, but for instance, if you go to my Replit account, you will see that all languages I have programs written in C++, C#, and Java. So what is your favorite PL? So go to my example and follow my example, and then try to connect with my lecture. Okay, so let us see two-dimensional array example, whatever I found first. C++, 2D array example in C#, this one. Okay. Okay, this is the two-dimensional array in C#. Okay, so we have this array name is marks. Okay, so how do we declare two-dimensional array? So here this we assign values within a curly brace, and then this is for first column, first row. Okay, and we separate the rows values by comma, and this is our second row, and this is our third row. Okay, although also all of these rows values are again enclosed within another curly brace. Okay, this is how a two-dimensional array is assigned. Okay, so then we discuss this. Your slide has this. So for instance, the array, like a two-dimensional array, a matrix is a perfect example of two-dimensional array. You know matrix operation, right? Matrix addition, matrix subtraction, matrix multiplication. So if you want to do matrix operation, matrix addition or matrix multiplication, then you need to know two-dimensional array operation. Okay, the two-dimensional array operation is simple. Okay, by the way, since I have to go to a lot in this week, I'm not typing program. So I spent some extra time in the weekend and I typed all of the programs. I'm not going to type, but I will just describe and discuss. Okay, so this is, there are two for loops over here. One is outer for loop and there is another is inner for loop. So the outer for loop, it starts from 0. Okay, for int I equal to 0. So you see that int ij, I can declare it here above my for loop, or I can declare here within my for loop. This is okay, you know that, you see. Okay, and we go to I less than L. How can we find the length of a two-dimensional array? It is different language to language. In Java, it is a type, it is one kind, and in C# we have to declare, we have to use get length method. Okay, and this is the method, and we pass parameter 0. So how many people are taking C#? Yeah, please raise your hand and give attention on this line. How do we find length of a two-dimensional array? Okay, so if you simply write like this, marks dot length, it will not work. The length property works for one-dimensional array. Okay, if you do like this, it will give you 9. How many total elements you have? 9, right? It will give you result 9, but we need actually 3 over here. So get length method. Okay, so I is equal to 0 to I less than get length method, and then with another for loop we will start from j equal to 0 to j less than length again, and we will write this is the thing, marks ij. within one square bracket. Yes.
But what if the rows and columns have different lengths?
In different languages?
Different lengths, rows and columns.
Okay, then it's a good question. Then maybe we can discuss it later. Okay, for this one. So we can say you can give. We'll discuss this. Or do a Google search. If we have different length, then we can get that also. So there is a way also. Okay. So here it will display one row, and then after one row it will create a new line. Okay, and then it will display the second row. Okay, so this is a very simple code, so that it will display the elements of a matrix or two-dimensional array is like this. So once you understand this, then you can do more other operations. For instance, if we want to find sum of the elements, what do we need to do? Int sum all elements. So initially we need to assign it to 0, right? Right? If you want to find sum, then we need to assign it 0. Then if I want to print sum of the wall elements, where do I need to update my sum wall variable? Where do I need to update? After what? Tell me line number. I have line number 16, 17, 18. After 17? Here? Okay. If I say sum wall plus equal to sum wall, right? You are thinking that? Anyone has any different opinion? Yes. Yes, you're correct. After line 16. Okay. It will go after line 16. And if I want to display the sum, then where do I need to display the sum? One time. After the for loop. I have two for loops. Who is for loop? Line 22. That's good. Sum of the all elements equal to okay. Oh, sorry. Sum all plus equal to this one. Actually, this will be like this. Sum on plus equal to marks ij. That means it is equivalent to this. It is equivalent to sum wall equal to sum wall plus marks ij, like this. Okay, these are the sum of the elements. Okay, now let us do something else. I want to sum all of the diagonal elements, only the diagonal elements. Which are the diagonal elements? 34, 87 and 70, right? Diagonal elements. Okay, then I need another variable, sum d elements. Okay, okay, some diagonal elements. What do I need to do? Yes. Where? I need an if statement. Where? That's good. Somewhere I need an if statement, right? Yes, here within my for loop. Okay, so if I equal j, then I need what? Plus equal to marks I j. Okay, then I can print sum of diagonal elements let us see. So you understand? So for diagonal elements I need to be j equal to j, right? So for this one diagonal elements, for this one I and j both equal to 0. For this one I and j, for 87 I and j equal to 1, and for this one I and j equal to 2. Okay. Then I will get sum of diagonal. Okay, now last question. If I want to sum up non-diagonal elements, non-diagonal elements, that the elements other than this, there are two ways. One simple way is that find sum of all elements and then subtract sum of diagonal elements. Then you will get sum of non-diagonal elements, right? It's mathematics calculation. But for array calculation, if we need another, if we say if I not equal to j, right, then sum of maybe non-diagonal elements, we need another variable like this equal to 0. If I not equal to j, then we need to add those, right? And then can print sum of non-diagonal elements, right? It should give us. So this is the condition if I not equal to j, so those elements are not diagonal. Oh, I'm sorry. What is the mistake? Okay. What is my mistake?
The second if statement is outside of the inner for loop.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it should go here. I'm sorry. Okay. Still have error? This is it? Let's see. Okay, this is my for inner. Okay. Okay, this is my inner for. Let me see. 3124, line number 31 in this line. Okay, I'm doing hurry. Okay, sorry. I will see that. I will check later after my class. I will fix it after my lecture. Okay. So let me see the next program. So I have similar two-dimensional array example, another example in Java. Okay, Java people, give attention over here. Now for Java, we can say, for instance, whatever our type, we need to use two sets of square bracket to declare Java and an array, two-dimensional array. Okay, but the main difference between Java and C# is that in C# you need to declare this array symbol just right after type. Okay, these are considered as part of type, but in Java these are not considered as in type. We need to give right after the name. This is one major difference in Java. Okay, so we have, so for this one, and for Java I can use length method. Okay, this is also a good thing, that if you have different size of array and column, okay, maybe in our next lecture we will discuss if we have time, but this is there is a way. If you do a Google search you will find it. Let me see how many minutes I do have. Okay, and so then this is the array. Whenever you can display a two-dimensional array, then you can find some of the diagonal elements, some of the non-diagonal elements, some of all elements, whatever you want, some of the wall even elements or word elements, whatever you want. Okay, so let me see. Okay, let us see a C++ program. Okay, so people who are taking C++ lab, please give attention. So array declaration, two-dimensional array declaration in C++ is more likely as C#. Okay, but here in C#, like you need to use, so we declare this. Okay, so not equal to, we can maybe say, maybe more equal to Java, we can say. Okay, more likely Java is fine. So we can say more likely Java. So this is the, which one we're discussing? This one. So here I have three matrices, matrix 1, 2 and 3. For instance, here we have matrix 1 and matrix 2 decoration and assignment, and in addition to, we want to assign our third matrix as a sum of the elements of first two matrices. Okay, the program is here. If I run this program, I should get my result. Okay, so this program is asking me to enter the elements of a 3 by 3 array. So if I put elements, let me make it simple, 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going first row, and then second row 1, 2, 3 again, and third row 1, 2 and 3 again. So this is my first matrix, and second matrix maybe put 3, 2, 1 reverse order, 3, 2 and 1 another order, 3 and 2 and 1 in another order. So okay, so okay, maybe I have missing something. 1, 1, 1. I have missing one new line. E and D I think if I could give this new line, then it would display my array in right fashion. Okay. We have 10 more minutes, right? Okay, so far we discussed those are called static array. Whatever we discuss, one-dimensional or two-dimensional arrays, those are static arrays. So far we discussed the array. Have you thought any limitation of our array? That is a good thing, right? For doing operation on big data set, using array is convenient. Our program will be faster. We need to maintain only one variable name, right? Okay, program will be faster and we have to maintain only one variable. But there are some limitations of this kind of array. Can anyone think any limitation? Yes.
It's difficult to resize it.
Yes, it is not possible to resize it, to change this kind of array size while we are running our program, right? So that is the limitation, main limitation of a static array. Static array means in our programs, whatever we discussed so far, you have seen that we have to fix our array length ahead of time during we declare our array. Okay, but think about that. If you are unpredicted about how many elements you have to deal with in this array, you may think that I will have only 100 variables, 100 elements. So if you declare an array with 100 size, but ultimately you have 110 elements or even 101 element, you cannot accommodate the last element more than 100. So that is the limitation, right? You have to terminate your program and fix it, and then you need to increase the array length and you need to rerun the program. But think about, we run some application. If we do not know how to change our application, for instance, in our daily life, we use many apps and then applications, right? We do not develop those apps, so we do not have control to change their properties, right? So in case, for instance, in our phone, that we maybe today we save our contract on through our email or maybe on our cloud account, right? Maybe I can remember, maybe 20 years ago when we have my first cell phone, I had limitation only to save 250 contacts. Have you used any phone like this? Anyone? We have limited number of contact list. In my phone, I could not save more than 250 friends or family members. So that was a static array. But now maybe many of you do not realize that kind of limitation. So that was the limitation of one-dimensional array, because when we declare an array, we cannot change its size. Okay, when an array is declared in a program, as a program user or an end user, we cannot declare its size. So that is a great problem. That was a great problem many years ago, even recent year. So in order to resolve that issue, there is a way that is called dynamic array. In most modern languages have that concept, dynamic array. So in Java we called array list. In Java and C#, dynamic array list is a dynamic array. And also if you take our 1322 next course, you will learn how to develop a linked list. When you take your data structure course, advanced level computer science or software engineering course, you will learn how to create linked list, how to create stack, queue, which is in our 1322 course. Then you will learn how to create dynamic array. Then you don't need to be worried about its size, initial size. As many elements as you want, you can add to an array. That would be nice, right? Really? So most of the programming languages like Java and C#, we have a built-in array that is called, in Java utility program, we have an array list class. The array list class can be used to create an object with dynamic property, dynamic array property. Okay, so both Java and C# has array list. Okay, we call array list. That array list is defined in C# within the system.collection package, and in Java it is declared in java.utility package, util package. Okay, so in Java we have array list, we say called array list, and in C# we have it array list. Okay, so in C#, if you program with C#, in order to declare an array, you have to import or use the system.collection package. I think who are taking C#, you know that. And people who are taking Java, if you declare and want to use an array list, then you have to import java.util package. Okay, so these are the, so Java and C# have this dynamic array since their beginning development. But for a long time C++ did not have this. C++ language, when I learned first time C++ language about 20 years ago, C++ did not have the dynamic array feature. But few years ago, after few versions later, C++ also added a dynamic array concept that is called vector. In C++ we call vector. People who are taking C++ lab, okay, so give attention that in C++ we need to include vector in order to create a vector object. And when you have vector, then you can push back. Push back means add element from the back. Okay. And for Java and C# people, we have array list, and array list has some methods like add method, contains method, size method, and Java and C# has count method. So language to language vary. So there are some built-in methods in order to do dynamic array operations. So you will learn dynamic array operation in our next course 1322. But if you have curiosity or sometime maybe you want to learn more, then we have these slides, few slides to give you an initial idea that it is possible to create dynamic array. And also the programming languages, modern programming languages have this dynamic array built-in feature. Okay, and if you go to my Replit account, so if you go to my Replit account, I have added a few programs, one dynamic array like with vector example 1 with C++. I have this program, vector example 2 in C++. I have array list example 1 in C#. I have should have array list example 1 with Java, array list example 1 with Java. I have array list example 2 with Java. I have at least 1 or 2 programs in each languages. Okay, so if you go to my Replit account, and you will see that this is a vector. Okay, so in order to, if you want to program with dynamic array, then for now you have to memorize or you have to practice and you have to learn yourself. We are just giving some initial idea. It is not our goal to give you in depth about this, okay? If you are asked questions in your test, you will be asked very simple question, not in depth, not any programming with dynamic array, just to give you a. So if you run this program, it should give you. So this is my vector. Initial vector has 5 elements, right? So original vector has 5 elements, and if you push back 2 more elements, element 15 and 25, then 15 will go after 8, and then 25 will go after 15. So then we will get the original elements. These were original elements. Then after that, 15 and 25. This is a simple example of how to use vector in C++. And maybe have another example of C++. Your language, according to your language, favorite language, you practice yourself, please. Okay, and this is the collection in C++. This is C#, right? I should have in Java also. Okay, then this is array list. This is in C#. Okay, no, in Java. This is Java. So if I run this program, Java has add method A in lowercase, and C# has same add method, same structure, but add A is in uppercase. Okay, so you see that we can run this, and we also have this one, maybe another program. Okay, so let me see. I need 1 more minute. So far we discussed one-dimensional and two-dimensional arrays and our list operation. Maybe in our next lecture, if I get some time, then I will answer one of the questions. They ask a good question. If we have array of different row or column number, how do we handle that? We can discuss some example, or if I do not get time, I will add example on my Replit account. Okay, with that. And in our next 2 lectures, please do not miss the next 2 lectures. Okay, we will discuss sorting and searching, the 2 important topics. Okay, and thank you so much, and you have a good day. I will check today.
Can you explain what a pointer is?
Sorry?